Okay, let me just get the chat going. Okay. Post it. Alrighty. They know. Oh, Twan was too hip. Twan was too hip. Well, let me fix my volume, because that is probably too loud for the stream. Where is it? There it is. Perfect. Is everybody here yet?
Hello, hello.
Hi. Who's that handsome man in the corner? That is a good question.
I'm a spy.
It's a spy. Honestly, he is a spy. He's too good at software not to be at software coding.
Exactly.
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? Good evening. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for us to make fun of you all. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but it is that time as well.
But it is that time, yeah. I'm partially kidding, right? All right, well, I guess let's just jump right into this. First off, we got Twan X Scrooge. Silence is deafening, so make noise with Dubstep Frank. I've got the questions here. Let's make sure that they're all nice and visible. Make sure I got this. All right, here we go, lads. Onward and upward.
I will kill you.
God damn.
Wow. That was pretty
That was
heavy.
pretty fucking crazy. Yeah. Heavy for sure.
This man, who hurt you? Who hurt you, brother? All right. So, do you want to kick us off, Raph? You're the special
Yeah,
guest. Flex.
for sure. All right.
Here are the
Let's see what we
questions.
have here. Critiques on the mix. Too much mud. Does it need more body in the mid? Okay, let me check out the other questions before. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, critique in the mix. I feel like I think this is gonna be my biggest feedback here is that you don't. There's not enough breaks in my mind. Like I feel like all the sound is coming in my face 100% of the time. Maybe it's just because I don't know this genre and this is not really in my wheelhouse urgently. But I feel like sometimes you would want a little more of a pull so that you can get the push again. I feel like we're missing out a little bit on that. So too much mud. I wasn't really bothered by the mud specifically because I felt like this sound design was pretty coherent and everything. I think you could have like more breaks throughout, I guess, to make the thing more impactful. Um, does it need more body in the mids? I think it could help, at least in the feels. I feel like we could have like feels here and there at the end of like bars and stuff where you could add like, I don't know, a little more melodic content, something like wah wah, and but back into the the big drop. I feel like could help elevate a little bit the progression maybe. So yeah, introduce special effects isn't currently enough. I don't think I'm the guy to talk too much about this. I feel like the spectrum was pretty full. I didn't look specifically at millimeters for special effects or like placement. It felt all the way through right in my face, all over the place, really. Like so, at least that's the feeling that I got out of it, and not necessarily that there are bits and pieces that are placed in 3D specifically. Um, does it feel like varied enough? I feel like you could add a lot more pauses. Playing with silence here would really help in like clarify the flow. I feel like the flow is good and really solid and all the way through, but just introducing a couple more pauses here and there would really like I think make a lot of space and like hit 1,000 times more here and there. So yeah, I guess that's it for me.
Nice. Yeah, no, I feel you on the fact that it's like always full energy all the time. I think a good example of this is like during this breakdown section, it still feels like there's just as much energy in this breakdown as there is in the drops. And even the build too a little bit. And it's like obviously a little bit less energy, but I think you could take like a little bit more away during these sections. And then of course like during the drops as well, having some more moments where you kind of like step away from the constant heavy parts. Like a good example, I think, like when you have that like bass drop section and then it goes back into the heavy stuff, like that was like on the right path, I think, as to what I'm thinking about. Cause like,
100%.
yeah, more
Agreed,
of
yeah.
that stuff basically. Cause like you have this really awesome, like heavy thing. And then like whenever you have these moments where there's like a step back from like, especially the high frequency content. Cause like that bass sweep, for example, is like mostly mid-range bass stuff. And yeah, I think that that's like the big thing that I think you could add more of as far as arrangement goes. Now, let me address the questions here. So critiques on the mix: too much mud. Does it need more body in the mids? I think it's fine. I think like as far as like the loudest loud parts, it's like pretty much where it should be. I think if there was any parts that were muddy, it feels like these kind of breakdown sections where you take away the sub, it feels weird without like, so I think those sections feel a little bit muddy as far as like the vocals. Like it was really hard to understand what you're saying with the vocals, which again, you know me, that's like a big like downvote from me. Like if I can't understand what you're saying, it definitely like feels less cool in my opinion. But as far as like the main drops, I think the drops were fine, mix wise. It just needs like a little bit more like tension building by adding some of those moments where there's less energy every once in a while. How would you introduce more spatial effects if there isn't currently enough? What bass would you avoid making more spatial? Well, I feel like the noise bass is definitely something that feels better with less space on it. So like less reverb, like really dry, really crispy sounding. Like if you're going to use like distortion or anything spatially, kind of like I was thinking like thermal. If you're going to use like distortion that adds space, like thermal or amp or some of those, that would be fine. But when it comes to like delays, chorusing, reverb, I would avoid using it on like noise basses, and I would save it for stuff like the sweep basses or things that are a little bit less like high frequency content related, because as soon as you put like reverb on it, it's going to make it feel less focused, which I think is not always good. So that's like what I would avoid putting reverb on, is like the basses you want to be really focused, which in my opinion would be the noise basses. And then does it feel varied enough in flow and timbre? I think that we kind of addressed that. The short answer is not exactly, because like during the drops, like it's basically just the same loud, aggressive feeling the whole time. And I think if you just had like moments similar to the one that you have here in this second drop, where the loudness kind of just takes like a moment, like even just that one moment feels really great. So yeah, doing more of that with like call response sort of feeling, I think would help a lot with the first and then other parts of the second drop. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Still a really cool song, dude. Yeah, you're definitely getting ridiculous with it. This is a nice little collaborative project here. I look forward to seeing more. Did you want to add anything else before we go to the next track, Raf?
Now, +1 to more neuro sound to vary a little bit the sound palette, and yeah, as well agreed on the cool sound. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I think that this is definitely a step in the right direction. So this is cool. I look forward to hearing more spicy bangers. Spicy banger alert. All right, next up, we got Crafty with Wild 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 Dub Master. This is a certified hood classis, a real bop, super litty, certified trill, deep 140. Okay, I don't know what all these are saying, but hearts, spades, PK sound. This is wild, bro. Wubs. That's the genre. This is wild. All right. Let's see. Are your questions in the Discord? Let's look here. I just want to get them up before we start so that I know what we're focusing on. Yes, they are in the Discord. Okay, hang on. Let me get a notepad up here so that way they're up on stream for everyone to look at, including me. Let me see here. Just want to make sure. All right. Let me just make this a little bit bigger here. That way it's easier to read. Okay. Here we go, gang.
Move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong till you ain't just another car. Watch them warning signs of a pylon for the gut you like, just another hot air. Time to move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep it pushing down, try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep it pushing down. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch them, one of the signs of a pylon for the gut you like. Just another heart, ayo, ayo. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong till you ain't just another cog. Watch them, one of the signs of a pylon for the gut you like. Just another heart, ayo, ayo. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing, dog. Try to stay strong. Time to move on, keep on pushing.
I can't pause it.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice. I guess I'll go first this time. So,
Okay.
is there any way I could get this to maybe be louder, or is it loud enough? So with this style of music, you're kind of limited as far as how loud luff-wise you can really get it without it sounding bad. And by bad, I mean like because there's not a lot of high to mid frequency content in the basses, it's really hard to push it. So like, which is fine, you know, like a lot of the deep dub stuff kind of sits at anywhere from like -10 to -7 if you're getting really spicy with it. So, yeah, I think, yeah, Al's already preaching, but I think the big thing is like you said I got it to where it's pushed, I think, up as much as I could without distorting. So like it is distorting, especially that main quick LFO bass. You can really hear it on the harmonics. Whenever it's coming in and out, you can hear this like clicking sound. I'm not a huge fan of that, and I think that's because of the clipping and or the distortion that you have on it. It could also be a part of the LFO itself and just the shape that it is. Sometimes with lower frequencies and low mid frequencies, the faster that it's going, the more careful you have to be with the shapes that you're using as far as envelopes and LFOs go, because you can create digital clicking, which just doesn't sound very pleasing to the ears. So I would just keep an eye out for that. As far as loudness goes, though, yeah, I think you should try and tone back like the clipping and limiting a little bit till it's not distorting anymore. And then if you want to make it louder, I would recommend doing things like distorting intentionally rather than like limiting or clipping the track in general. So like, you know, approach it from more of the concept of like adding harmonics with saturation, amp, you know, like whatever like distortion software you like to use. I would approach it that way rather than trying to just like get it to where the distortion is happening at the clipper level, because I think that's where it doesn't sound like as nice. So that's assuming you want to make it really, really loud. You don't have to do that. You can just keep it at like -10 luffs or -7 in that range. And I think it'll still sound great on big systems. It's just, it won't have, you know, a ton of the higher frequencies that make it feel louder. So yeah, that's my opinion on that first question there. The second question, how do you like the sound selection on the basses? I think for the most part you did great, apart from the LFO envelope thing, as well as there's this one bass where you have this one harmonic. Like there's this thing. At least I can find this one. In fact, here, let me print screen just because I want to show you exactly what we're looking at here. So let me just make this a bit bigger here. So as you can see here, there's this this one harmonic here that is way above like anything else in the sound, especially your sub. And this is like a huge no-no as far as energy is concerned within your sounds. So when you're making bass music, a majority of the time you want your sub to be the loudest harmonic in the sound. So this frequency here, this fundamental frequency, you want to be above everything else. With exception, sometimes you can have your high frequencies kind of at the same level, but for the most part, it's kind of that standard shape. You know what? I'm going to pull up the picture here. It's really all about this shape right here. This is the shape that you really want. You really want like your fundamental of your sub to be like nice and high. And then in the low mids and mid range, you want this dip. And then maybe in the high frequencies, you want it to be about the same height as your sub. And that's just something that you can do visually to help you. Obviously, you can listen for that and get better ear training towards that. But initially, without the ears being able to grab onto that, you can just look at something like millimeters or span. And if you see something like this, you'll know immediately, oh, I have a harmonic in this kind of mid-range that is a little bit too high. So that was kind of like the biggest thing that stuck out to me. And that's also possible too. I'm just saying, like, if you ever see something like this, just know that it's going to make your sub feel weaker, which is not always a good thing. Sometimes if you're intentional about it, maybe it's okay. But usually for long periods of time, this is something that you want to avoid. Now, those are the only things that I feel like you did not achieve well on your basses. Everything else sounded great. I think that the timbral quality of them was really interesting. Like you definitely had the harmonic bass vibe down. So I think other than that, it was really nice. I think in the second half of the song, it could have been cool having a little bit of like a harmonic change, you know? So like we could have like a slightly different timbre in the second half than we had in the first half, but that's not necessary. That's just me and my own wanting for a slightly deeper, varied track. And then lastly, for your third question, is there anything you noticed that maybe I should improve on or work on more? The big thing that was throwing me off in this song is the fact that the vocals were not lining up with the tempo of the track. It's something that isn't always obvious, but if you're trying to groove with the song, most of the time you want everything to kind of feel like it's in the same rhythmic sort of energy. And in the context of this song, I feel like the vocals were sort of off, you know, they just weren't at the right BPM. So yeah, I would focus on just trying to figure out what BPM the vocals are and figure out what BPM the track is, maybe warp the vocals to fit the track more, that kind of stuff. And, you know, even if it is like, you're saying I think it's a 3-bar phrase. It could be. All I know is, no matter what, however many bars the phrase is, you can make it work if it's on the right tempo. And I think that there's a tempo difference between the two things. So those are my thoughts. Raf, take it away. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna start with this last question, I guess. Like, same thing about the vocals. I feel like the rhythm is off, but also I feel like it's a lot of the same thing. So if that's really what you want, you could keep it as is. But even between the two breakdowns, I mean, the first build up and the second build up, I guess, and even the outro, it seems like it's exactly the same thing. I think you probably would benefit a lot from like warping and like messing with the vocals. Specifically, you should try maybe different types of like warping modes and like play with the the type of warping you get plus the BPM of warping, so like you get different effects and like try to pitch it down. I think I can totally hear it going like even 12 up, 12 down, like having it like change a lot to play a little more rhythmically throughout those build-ups. I think it would do a lot for it. Yeah, so about that question, I guess I'm going to finish that question first. Anything else that could improve? I think one thing that I was itching for is this classic like reverb on the snare. Not always, but like every 4 or 8 snares, you get that like that one time where the snare gets a big reverb, super big reverb, and you can hear that. It gives this groove, and then you snap back into the regular groove on the first kick. I think that's something I heard that was missing off my deep dub formula. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, super cool songs. Deep dub vibe definitely nailed. In terms of too loud, same thing as Magdut was saying. Yeah, that third harmonic needs to go in some way. It was too loud. That it's the only thing I can hear. So yeah, it would be nice to get that under control. Yeah, how do you like the sound selection? Sound selection was really good. I think the overall, even the vibe overall was really good. Of the basses specifically, I think they sound good together. I'm not an expert in sound design, so I'm not sure I can use a lot more words to describe them. But yeah, it sounded good to me. Yeah, I would mostly work on those vocals for right now, really. Yeah, I think that's about it. Cool tune.
Heck yeah. Yeah, thank you, Crafty. That was nice. Always improving, though. That was a cool vibe. That was the deepest dub you have acquired recently. So that was nice. All right, next up, we got Style is Legit. I guess we'll be the judge of that. No, I'm sure it's fire. Let's see.
From my boy said the style was legit. Cash in the back, clerk slipping, barely quit. Pull up in the whip, and she humming like a bit. No time for the slip, homie. Now we put the dip. Cash in the back, clerk slipping, barely quit. Pull up. Now we bout to dip. From my boy said the style was legit. Said the style was legit. Cash in the back, clerk slipping, barely quit. Now we bout to dip. From my boy said the style was legit. Said the style was legit. Cash in the back, clerk slipping, barely quit. Now we bout to dip. From my boy said the style was legit. Cash in the back, clerk slipping, barely quit. Pull up.
Damn,
I was like,
that
that's
was
it.
pretty cool.
I want more.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the first question is yes. Where did you need to make this longer? That's it. There's only one answer to this thing.
Yeah.
This is a question.
Yeah, take it away, Ryan. Flex.
Which direction did you see taking? I think like if I had to find a reference for this, I would be looking at what's his name? Troy Boy. Troy Boy is really good at like doing those kind of trap beats. They're always like out there. There's a lot of variety. I think that's kind of what I would go. So like check it out. I think you already have the vibe. I mean, you don't need to. What direction would I see it taking? I guess is really just write the vibe that you already have. Try to throw a chorus on there that's like kind of, I imagine like kind of R&B ish, like with like maybe someone singing or something, and then going back hard on that beat that you have. Yeah, I guess that's the direction taking. Yeah, I think you have a pretty good vibe. You could just write that for like a minute and a half at least, and just not have a problem with that. Without needing many more elements, I think just like a little bit of variation. Any elements add or tweak? That's yeah, it's a very open question. Yeah, just reference tracks, I guess. Like try to find some references that like make sense to you. I think yeah, Troy Boy, really cool stuff. Often lots of variety of sounds in there. I think it's a good sound palette though. You have like a definitely a good vibe going, and the sub is hitting hard, and yeah, no, it's really cool. I think you need to work on the mix, by the way, like the volume of different things. But that's like a given, I assume, given that like this is just a beat, like not even a full track yet. I feel like some elements are just way louder than others, so try to keep an eye on that. And yeah, Mag, you wanna give us your take on this?
Yeah. No, that was cool. I thought that this was like a good sample, you know. He gave us a little bit of a taste. Now we want like the whole dish, you know. You can't just be like out here giving out samples without giving us like a full course meal after that. No, I think that you should definitely aim to make this into a full song. As far as the direction that I see this taking, yeah, I think Troy Boy was like a great reference for this stuff. I feel like Troy Boy's a little bit trappier than this, like just a skosh more trappy. But as far as mixing and mastering and like where the elements should be from a level perspective, he's probably the perfect person to go for. As far as like what you should add or tweak, I think vocals. I think that Raph mentioned that too, but yeah, vocals would be like super nice on this. There's also a lot of room for like little fill elements. Like you could probably add like, you know, little chord like stacks or things like that every once in a while. Heck, you could even go crazy and add like a noisy respace at the end of some areas. But I think like in general, the idea is very full. And I do agree with Raph. I think mix master wise, like it's like not squished enough dynamically. Like it's really nice arrangement wise, but I think that because everything is like so everywhere as far as loudness goes, it doesn't like hit as hard as it could. You know, like it's hitting, but like it could hit harder if it was smushed just a little bit more. And by smushed, I mean like Raph was saying, like certain things feel louder than other things. And I think the more that you get everything to dynamically feel like more, you know, just like balanced, then everything will just slap super hard. And yeah, I think that'll be nice. But it's hard to do that until you have the vocals like in the track. So I would finish the arrangement first before even like approaching that whole ideology. But yeah, those are my thoughts. This was really fun. That was a cool little treat. Do you have anything else you want to add, Raph? Just making sure.
No.
Yeah.
No, fuck yeah, that was a good tune.
Yeah, that was dope. I also like the art. I don't know if you made this yourself, but that's really cool. I think that, I don't know, that's very unique and interesting. But yeah, all right, next up, we got the Costco guys dub. Oh, shit. All right, I'm going to Costco.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets
That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. We bring the We bring the boom to you. We bring the boom.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms. Sorry.
Gets 5 big booms. Gets 5 big booms.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms.
That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. We bring the
5 big booms.
We bring the boom to you. We bring the boom.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear about your brother that passed away. He gets 5 big booms.
So many booms.
Yeah, I think there was more than 5, honestly.
Yeah, there are many booms.
I guess I'll go first this time. Let's see here. So, yeah, there were definitely more than 5 booms. I lost count after like 10 or so. I honestly, yeah, there's a lot. How's the mix sub level? I thought the mix was really good. I actually liked this a lot. I think that the one thing that was like a little bit, just a skosh bit jarring, was the spatial difference between the main mid bass and the like stereo hi-hats and all the other percussion. Like it feels like they're kind of in 2 separate rooms, where I think they would benefit from feeling like they're more in the same room. And that's just to kind of create a deeper atmosphere, like ambient feeling to the track as far as deep dub goes. But that's literally it. I think that the sub level was nice. I think that like everything was hitting. You could get a little bit more savage with the kick side chain, I think, just like a skosh, but that's like more of a taste preference thing than really a necessity. But yeah, sub level was good. So yeah, that's really mix wise the only things that stood out to me, and that's being like super nitpicky. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to like push you towards that final 1% of leftover space here. And you tried to master this. Not sure if it's okay. I didn't do much but K clip and Pro L. That's fine. I mean, like, it really depends on what you're trying to master for, because like it sounds good. So like at the end of the day, that's really what matters. The question is like, do you want to sound like someone specifically? If so, then you could approach it from a little bit more of like a scientific / logical angle, and start putting EQs on the master and start doing multi-band compression and start doing like even more subtle compression than you're already doing to like try and get a little bit closer to a reference. But as far as like on its own, this sounds really nice. So like, I don't know if that's necessary, but that's just like something you could think about as far as like if you're going to be doing shows with other people that you want to do shows with, for example, you could start referencing their material and then trying to just do these little like 1% little tiny movements to get you in the direction of sounding the way that they sound. Like, for example, comparing like what your hi-hat level is to theirs, right? Like, do they sound about the same? If they do, then you don't have to worry about it. If yours is a little bit louder, maybe you want to turn it down a little bit. If theirs is a little bit louder, you get the idea. Like, that kind of stuff. But as far as like standing on its own, I thought it sounded really nice. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Raf, take it away.
Yeah, okay. How many booms? I counted over 9,000. There's like so many of them. How's the mix? The mix is really good, I think. Everything fits in place, really. That part's good. Sub-level is good as well. I guess the only criticism I would have sometimes is like, I feel like the sub is diverging a little too much from the rest of the flow. This is not really my genre of predilection. Maybe it's a taste thing, and if that's what you're going for, that sounds good. Then I think I would try to have the sub match a little more of the rhythm of the other sounds, because sometimes I feel like they are doing just their thing, and like there's nothing happening with the still sub. There's nothing in the mids, I guess, happening and the still sub, and the other way around. Like I found those things to be surprising sometimes. But yeah, other than that, like sounded really full and big deep dub energy. Like the piece was working well together. Yeah, I guess that's about it for me.
Word, I'm sorry, I was grabbing my tea over here. Yeah, Norby, that was dope. Mans is flexing. He's out here with the 5 booms. More than 5 booms. He's trolling the shit out of us. All right. Next up, we got the fucking Great Owl. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Let's hear the Universo. Don't ask me why.
Damn,
Sheesh.
that was really really nice.
Yeah, Owl's flexing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you go first.
I think yeah. So there's a real build up, second drop. Yeah, that was enjoyable to me. I liked how the whole the tension was building up to the end of the song. I think that was pretty cool. Uh, yeah, no, I think it was good. I think it sounded really good. Releasing soon, Ross Mixmaster. Uh, yeah, I think in the second drop, I would want this like main element. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Sounded like filtery bass that's like moving quite a lot in pitch, like higher up. I want that to like shine through more. I don't know what. It sounded like it was with the rest of the elements. I feel like I want that element to be even more right in my face compared to the rest. Other than that, it sounded really good. It didn't sound too bright or spiky to me. Snare was fine, absolutely. First drop too boring. No, I think that was good. I think it's a good. Maybe you could introduce a little more variation with like feels or punching a couple of holes here and there to just like bring back the energy and like some changes here and there, like after bar 4 or something. But like I generally it was fine, and I think it's the right amount of like boring for the second drop to hit even harder. I think it sounded good. Yeah, Mag, you want to give us also your thought?
Yeah, so Yeah, I feel like the end of the track was fine. So I think that like that build up at the end of the second drop was nice. I didn't notice it as being like, you know, jarring or anything. I think it sounded nice. I think that yeah, it'll also work from the concept of like album building, I think, because you could use that as like a tool. Well, not even album building, but even mixing live or anything like that. I think it's just a good tool to like lead you into the next section of a song, assuming you're not playing out the end of this one. But yeah, the second question, releasing soon, roast, mix, master, please. Is the mix too bright, spiky, snare and drum working? So I really was not a fan. I hope that I'm not alone here. Maybe I am alone here, but I'm going to say it. I was not a fan of this weird distortion over the first drop. I don't know if it's... I don't know. It feels like muddy. Like it doesn't feel like clean in the way that I want it to feel, you know? I would reference like a Lucid Slip track and just like really pay attention to the low mids and like the amount of distortion and where it's happening, because I think you could definitely use these sounds. It's just the way that it's like distorting wasn't exactly like feeling great. Then again, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe this is just the vibe in the genre, but I just know that I feel like this has like almost some Lucid Slip energy. It's just a little bit deeper, but I think if you looked at some of his songs to reference, I think it would help with like specifically this drop. Just that like distorted feeling. I wasn't like sure if it's the clipper doing that or if it's like an intentional thing or what, but yeah, I definitely just wanted to like let you know that that was like the only thing, I think anyway, from a mixed masters perspective that like wasn't feeling great. Oh, you did reference him. Okay, I would just keep looking at it then, because I mean, yes, he gets very spicy with the saturation, but it's not as much in like the lows and the low mids. It's more in like the upper mids and the high frequency areas. Because you can hear like there's this rumbliness, I guess. And it's not the vocal. It's like just in, I don't know what it is. I don't know. You'll have to figure that one out. But I wasn't a big fan of it. But in the second half of the song, it's not there. So like in the second half, it's really clean and sounding, you know, spicy. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like muddy in like compare these two drops together and see what you did differently. Apart from the sound design, maybe the sound design is the same, but it works over here more because it's less low mid focused. But yeah, that's like the big thing that stuck out to me negatively. But yeah, first drop too boring. I don't think so. I think that before we move on to the next song here. Oh, Raph is DCing. Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Yeah. Let's see. Popped. That's the song. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna play that whole thing on stream, but yeah, that is a good track for referencing as far as like arrangement goes, and maybe some mix down. I feel like the mix down isn't exactly what you want for this song, but I think it would help from an arrangement perspective to explain the whole ideology before the drop having that exact same sound. It just feels so good when you finally get to hear it like in its full glory. But anyway, thank you, Al. That was really cool. Keep flexing. I'd love to hear your tracks. They're really inspiring. All right, next up, we got Sofa King Sad Boy, Can't Trust Nobody, Resurrection featuring Evan Shear.
Can't trust nobody. Can't trust nobody. Can't trust nobody. Can't trust nobody.
All right.
All right.
Let me go first here. Yeah, sorry about the skips if there is any. I can't imagine that it's my internet. Hang on, let's just do a quick. It could be YouTube though. You know how YouTube is. It loves to be toxic. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe not.
You're just flexing your internet. Damn.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
There's
have
no
I
way.
have like
Hang on.
a 20th of that here.
But it's the upload that matters. Hang on. The download's whatever, right? But it's the upload that really matters as far as streaming is concerned.
For sure.
But I have a feeling that it's just fine. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
That should
So
work.
I think it could be
Yeah, it's
YouTube
fast.
or potentially I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. But let's go through these questions. So does it sparkle enough? I don't know. I think if by sparkle you mean high frequency content, I think there could be a little bit more. It sounded slightly dull. Not like very dull, but I think like a little bit of boosting in the highs here and there could be nice. I think it's, what is it called? Like sweetening of the mix, I guess, you know, in the mastering phase. I would say it could benefit from a little bit of that. If that's what you mean by sparkle. As far as the vibe though, it is a very sparkly vibe. So yeah, you nailed that. Is the guitar hitting at the right point of volume and stereo width? Would you make it longer? So for some reason, it feels like the guitar is sitting like in my left ear more than my right ear. And it's like very slight, but it's like enough to be like a little bit jarring. It's not like super, super obvious, like some panning situations go, but it definitely felt like off-putting after like a little bit of listening to it. So yeah, I would just maybe try and get it a little bit more centered. If you're using like some kind of like Haas affecting, I would try and avoid that and switch to something that feels like slightly more natural. Like you could add reverb. Was it that was supposed to say Dino and I had to rewind, so I'm behind y'all. What was supposed to say Dino? I'm confused. Word. Let me know what you mean by that. I don't understand. Oh, dunno. I see. Okay. All right. Let's see. So would you make it longer? No, I think it's a good length. I think maybe just try and do a little bit more of like that classic 80s kind of fade out at the end. That would be kind of nice. You know, where the beat kind of just keeps playing, but it like slowly goes to silence. I think that would be really nice. But yeah, that's about it. As far as length is concerned, I think that would be nice. Does jet fuel melt still beams? Turn on out there, suffering from mental health and just being down. Sure. Sure. No, maybe so. I don't know. Will you wish them brighter days? I might. I don't know. Maybe not. That's a coin toss, honestly. Not just now, but anytime. Yeah. I mean, it depends, right? Like if I have a coin on me, then maybe. And then, yeah, Dino, can you send me that link for the guys' SoundCloud, please, sir? I got these cheeseburgers. Yeah, that was this whole section here probably didn't need to be here, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Raph, what are you thinking?
Yeah, sparkled enough. I think it's definitely a big sparkly vibe. I feel like you could add a little bit more movement with like transition effects, stuff like the sub rising or like
Is anyone there? Hello? Hello? Maybe it is my internet.
This is not working, is it?
So it says YouTube being, or it's our internet. No, there's no way. Can you guys hear me? Raph, you're back. I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I'm checking my internet again. I think it's YouTube though. I think YouTube is having a moment. And maybe Discord as well. Let's check the old down detector. Let's check Discord out. Okay, you can hear me. Oh, yeah, look at this. We're getting DDoSed, everybody.
Ooh.
Oh, no. Let's check out YouTube.
It's the end of the internet.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, maybe it's not YouTube, but maybe it is. Maybe we'll find out soon. But we're definitely, if Discord's looking like this is not good, lads. This is bad. This is not good. So there could be some shenanigans on afoot. But anyway, Raph, I can hear you. Let's get back to it.
Okay, sparkly
Flex.
enough. The vibe is definitely very sparkly. I think you could benefit from some transition elements like sweeps on white noise or sweeps on a sub, all those things to make the transitions more impactful, I think would be nice. I can also hear 1,000 times, like stuff like that you would hear in like 80s disco type of stuff when you have like ta 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 kind of thing, like at the end of the bar. That's the kind of stuff that I was expecting to find at some point in the song and I never heard. So I think that kind of little ear candies could elevate a little bit the vibe a little bit. And agreed on, I think you could push the highs a little more, like my dude was saying. The guitar hitting at the right volume and stay with. I don't even know which guitar what exactly. So maybe we can replay a little bit of the song because like I didn't read the questions beforehand. So I didn't pay attention.
Don't trust nobody.
Okay.
You can hear, right? It's like the rhythmic one.
Yeah, I think it's fine where it is right now. Maybe it's as. So what was the question? So with maybe you could have it like a little less stereo, but it sounds good as is. Like this is really to taste. I think it's fine as it is, and making it longer, probably not. But if you did, people probably wouldn't be mad because that's what happens with house. The songs are just like 7 minutes of the same 4-bar loop. So it really is up to you. I feel like you could definitely get away with it if that's what you wanted to do. Personally, I think it's kind of fine, like as it is right now. But you could consider like longer intros or outros if like you want to have DJ be able to mix them. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Sofa King. That was a nice vibe.
Yeah, that was very refreshing. That's not the kind of stuff we've had tonight.
Yeah. For the most part, it's been dubstep energy.
Been fucking intense energy. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was cool. That was a cool.
And we're here for it. We love intense energy, but yeah, it's nice to get a change in the middle of it.
Yes. All right, next up, we got Baked Potato with the Microfunk Morning Proj Stream Full.
Let's go.
So here we go, lads.
Damn,
Man, Dino's been cooking.
that was
recently.
trip. For real, yeah.
Dino has been cooking. So, is it my turn to go first? I forget. I think so, right? Or did I go first
No
last
idea.
time? No.
I
Yeah, I
think you
went
did
first
go
last time.
first.
Yeah, go for a Raph Flex.
So I'm not sure what he means by like too funky. I'm not super sure. So maybe I did not notice that it got fucked up. I don't know. There was some like yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of panning maybe of some bass that was going a little funky at the end of the last drop, but I don't know. I wasn't very clear to me, so I guess I did not notice the funked up version. Loudness for me is hitting a lot. It's I don't know. I haven't looked at the things, but it was pretty loud in my ears. Um, Duk Duk in the third drop isn't spicy enough. I did a 4 months, so just I think that sounded good. I don't think the Duk Duk was out of place. Yeah, no, that was good. I think you could even have gone for longer, but as far as I'm concerned, this song is pretty cool. I think my main thing that I would like to try is to the same thing I said yesterday about like when you listen to one of your songs is like having maybe more ghost kicks and try to add a little more kicks in there because there's a couple things I feel like it gets a little stale and you could have a lot more grooves and emphasis on certain parts of your drops that by just adding a couple kicks and ghost kicks here and there. Yeah, what about you, McDude?
You're welcome, Sofa, by the way. I just wanted to say, yeah, keep flexing. All right, Dino. So here is the first thing. Your first question. It isn't too funky because it wasn't so funky that we noticed it. Okay, so yeah, I'm in the same boat Raph's in. Like, I didn't really notice like a bad, like, jarring feeling between the second and third drop. So if that's what you were trying to avoid, then you succeeded. But if you wanted it to be more obvious, then it was not obvious. Oh, by the way, Raph, your old microphone's vibing.
Gotcha.
No, thanks, bro. So that's my answer to the first question. The second question, the loudness. Is it too loud and not dynamic enough for this style? Hitting -8 peak in some places and 10 integrated. I don't know if it might be too pushed. So, you know me. I think that like I immediately had to turn up my interface in order to like truly bask in the glory of this song, which once I did, it sounded great. But when I did do that, I noticed one thing. The ambient wave airy noise felt louder than everything that was melodic, and I wasn't like a huge fan of that. I think it would have been nicer for like the delayed kind of plucky stuff to be a little bit more loud, and just to use like the airy ambient space as like a good like that's like your ground level thing, and then kind of have everything else above that. The bass was great. The low end I think was like the perfect volume. It's just like everything else. The ocean sound is what I'm talking about here. Definitely the ocean sound is like too loud in comparison to everything else, but it's at a good volume. So I'm thinking everything else could come up in like the mid range and upper frequencies. So like the flute could be louder, that kind of stuff. The weird zippery like synth stuff could be louder, that kind of thing. But yeah, everything else sounded good, and that would probably give you like another luff or so, I assume, like, and it wouldn't affect your low end, which I think would be nice. So like you'd have like the -7-ish sort of region, and then I probably wouldn't have had to turn up my interface. And to give you like an idea as to how much I turned it up, I usually keep everything at like 12 noon, and I had to turn it up to like, probably like 4 o'clock, something like that. Like 4 o'clock is probably where I've had to put it to. So that's when it like felt like just right and nice for my 990s. So that's what I'm using right now. Anyway, third question. I feel like the duck duck flute in the third drop isn't spicy enough, and I added the Formenti sawtooth and the harmonic wubs to try and reinforce the tonal changes between 1, 2, and 3, but I don't know if the flute sits right. Thoughts? I mean, wait, what? What do you mean by 100% minus
More like 80%. I think he's talking about your 12 to 4
Oh yeah,
movements of
I
the
probably had to
interface.
turn it up like
70,
like
80.
from 50%, I had to put it up to like 80% in order to like really enjoy the song. But yeah, that's just my. Oh, well, I'm just talking about it from the perspective of like 0 to 100%. It was at 50%. I had to turn it up to like 80%. So that's probably like a solid minimum 2 or 3 dBs, probably more of loudness there. But yeah, so as far as I guess I'm not quite. Well, I'm not like I'm kind of done with that. I suppose it's not. I'd rather focus on your questions. So the flute, I think, is fine. I didn't really think that there was any issues from the arrangement timbrally. The only thing that I was worried about, and honestly, it could be fine, I'm just not 100% sure, was the stereo sub thing that thing that you have going on in the later sections of the song. I personally think that you could get away with it just being an LFO'd sine wave or something like that, rather than it being so stereo-y, and it would be just as good, if not better, because as soon as you have stuff like that, assuming it's coming out of a non-mono system, which at times it can be. Well, first of all, if it sums to mono, you have to make sure that it sums to mono, but I assume that it does. So I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here and say that you have summed it to mono and that it sounds fine in mono. In which case, I would just be cautious, because you never know if on a stereo system the speakers could be slightly spaced apart at different amounts, right? Like they could be spaced apart separately, and the phase difference between the two speakers would create a situation where even though it's mono compatible on a mono system, it might not be mono compatible on a stereo system because of how the waves combine in the middle of the air. So, just something to be cautious of, especially when things like standing waves exist, where you have this situation where one wave bounces off one wall and then the other wave bounces off another wall, and then they combine again in the center and they cancel each other out. And once again, like, you may not run into this issue, right? But if you want to be 100% guaranteed never run into this issue, then just have it be mono to begin with, and you will guaranteed never have that problem ever. And that's like partially true what you're saying, but it is more likely to happen if you have stereo versus mono. So like on a mono system, it is very unlikely for that to happen. But if you're on a stereo system and you're playing a mono track back, then it's also unlikely. But if you're playing a stereo track through a stereo system, then there is a higher chance of that happening. Once again, like, I'm only just quoting like people that I really value as far as like their opinions, right? I could be wrong. I'm just letting you know, like, mainly the person that I'm referencing here is Seth Drake. So like he's like where I get a lot of my mixing and mastering thoughts and ideologies. And I feel like every single song I've heard of his live fucking was just like absolutely immaculate. And that's not only live, but also on like a bunch of different systems. So like, once again, you can do whatever you want. I'm just letting you know why I think the way that I think in that regard, because, that dude's worked on like so many very, very, very successful people's songs, and that's why I value his opinion. So for no other reason than that. And that's why I'm just kind of over here, regurgitating it. But anyway, and once again, this is just in like the subs. So like in the low mids, you can do whatever you want, really. Same with like the mid range and the high frequencies. I'm just talking about that, 120 and below kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts, my good sir. I thought that ambient wise, and as far as like the arrangement and even the balance of the mix, for the most part, of course, apart from the things that I was talking about with regards to the atmosphere, I thought it was really good. I thought it was fucking awesome. Definitely evocative in more ways than one. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for posting this. This was a nice journey. Definitely the best I've heard from you yet. Yeah,
it's a cool vibe you got there.
Yeah, he's getting trippy with it. He's getting, I don't want to say
yeah,
it.
for sure.
I was gonna say he was getting swifty, but then I'm like, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna devolve. All right, we're gonna evolve. Okay, we're gonna evolve. I know. Hey, that's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. What if I said that it wasn't getting better? God, then you'd have to really fucking rethink what the fuck you're up to. You'd have to reinvent the wheel at that point. All right. Next up, we got Ziggy Zaggy. Let's get it.
Cause I'm a shut the fade up. I ain't here to play games like Sega. Cause I'm a left. Shut the fade up. I ain't here to play games like Sega. Cause I'm a shut the fade up. Left. Cop that if I need it. I'm taking the route that's scenic. Yeah, that's the way up. Cause I'm a push up the fader. I ain't here to play games like Sega. Left. Push up the fader. I ain't here to play games like Sega. Cause I'm a
Wow. That was pretty spicy.
God damn, yeah, that was very spicy.
All right, I guess, is it my turn to go first? I think so.
Yeah, I think it is.
Let's see here. So, does the melodic intro breakdown section provide a strong sense of contrast when the beat drops? Do the transitions into the drops need more suspense? With the ideology that you had to cut out some of the introduction, I do still think that there is a slight lack of tension building before the main drop sections. So I really liked the way that you dropped into the second half here, this little section here. But I feel like this section just, there's like a little bit too much information. And you can even see here, let me just do a little screenshot. Let's get the old paint up here. Okay, now let's copy in the drop. All right, so let's look at this here. Okay, so you can even see it here. There's actually more, and let's just try and line these up here. There's actually more information in the low end on your buildup than there is in your drop, technically. Now, obviously, your drop has more energy here, right? Like there's more energy in this. Whoops, that's not a color you can see. There's obviously more energy here from a loudness perspective, but there's actually more frequency content here from a frequency perspective. I would try and either high pass those kicks a little bit more, kind of get rid of more of the high end, because there's actually more high end too. Look at this. You can see here. There's like more high frequency content, and this is build up. This is your drop, right? Like, God, that B is spicy, huh? There's more information in a lot of areas, including the mids as well, than your drop. And I feel like because of that, it ends up making your drop feel less loud than your intro, which ends up making it feel like less impactful. So in all ranges of your frequency spectrum here, you have more information before than you do after the transition. So I would inverse that. So try and make it so that there's more information during the drop versus the intro. And what'll end up happening is it'll create a higher sense of tension, which will make your drop hit harder. And I would say that's something that is definitely worth focusing on in the context of the sense of contrast. So there is a sense of contrast, but it's kind of like inverted to where it's like really loud and like full, and then it gets like really quiet and not full, which makes it feel less impactful than it could be. So that is something that hopefully helps. And this is all stuff you can do with like filters and EQs and things like that. You know, you don't have to change any of like the actual instrumentation of what's going on. Next question. Are the 808s overpowering the mix? I feel like on headphones, they sound almost buried. In the car, they were the loudest part of the mix. I've heard it so many times now, though, I'm losing my frame of reference and my mind. Well, first off, if that is the case, use a reference track. Start finding a song that you think has a nice mix down and master that you really enjoy. Drag that into your project and start kind of A-Bing between your song and the song that you like. And you'll notice immediately what is louder and or quieter, and especially when it comes to things like the 808. And that should hopefully help you kind of find a better frame of reference if you start getting a little lost in that regard. But another way to avoid this is to just put the song down, you know, come back to it in a month or two, see what you're feeling then. And when I mean come back to it in a month or two, I mean don't listen to it at all for that month or two. If you can avoid it, definitely aim to not listen to it. As far as the 808s, though, I feel like the biggest problem that I found was that your fundamental is often being overshadowed by the second harmonic. So, you know, let me just screenshot again here. Let me see if I can. Let me go back to the old paint here. Let's grab this. Okay. So in here, you can see that there's this fundamental, and then there's the second harmonic. And yeah, if that second harmonic is louder than the fundamental at any point, it's going to make the sub bass region, which is this fundamental here, feel weaker. And that's on headphones or on a car system. So what's probably happening in your car system is this is a low enough frequency to be hitting the sub, but it's higher than the bass, the true like sub region. So what's probably happening is you're feeling this on your car system. And unfortunately, I mean, higher sub frequencies can sometimes be nice, but yeah, it's like, does it work in the context of the song, and what is it that you're trying to accomplish? If you're only caring about the song sounding good inside your car, then maybe it's fine. My approach is for it to sound pretty much the same across all systems. So I avoid stuff like this. I usually try and make sure that my fundamental is as sturdy as it can be. You know, there's okay to have moments like this, but I noticed that this is kind of a reoccurring theme throughout your song. So I would just try and be careful. If you see this happening, it could be worth doing a little bit of a downward EQ or multiband compression here, or a little bit of a boosting here to kind of invert the two of these things. So yeah, again, it's kind of like an inversion process of what you're doing, which is fine. Like, I think that the fundamental aspect of what you have here is great, and it sounds really cool. It's just kind of the refinement of that is how you bring clarity into the song by essentially making certain things more loud than other things. So yeah, that is my opinion as far as the 808s or any of the basses in your track. And did any of the mid basses feel out of place or too wide in the stereo field? Should I work on bringing more variation to the stereo placement of them? No. And if that was a mid bass and not a sub, just be conscious of the low. Like, all that really matters is your fundamental clean and is it loud? And if your fundamental is loud and clean, then it will slap. And it doesn't matter where, honestly. You could listen to it on headphones. You could listen to it in your car. You could listen to it on a really bad Apple earbud / Mac or PC laptop, or you could listen to it through your phone speakers, and it'll still sound great through all of those things. And then, of course, obviously, like big main stage speaker systems, if that's what you're aiming for as well. But yeah, the idea here is none of them felt out of place timbrally. It's just the mix down. So like making sure that fundamental bass, that sub is really the most prominent thing, I think will make this song sound a lot nicer. Because it's okay to have some second harmonic, but I think that as soon as you start dabbling in the second harmonic, it's worth being conscious of the fact that if you do want your sub to feel impactful on all systems, then you should usually have it higher than anything else next to it. So, I'll bring up the shape again, just because it's such a great shape. I love this shape. This shape right here is the shape. And of course, there is another shape as well. There's this shape, which is a nice shape that is essentially the same thing. And then, of course, if you're also really not sure, another shape that I personally love a lot is this shape, which essentially is kind of like this slow sloping shape, and it's essentially the shape of pink noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah, if you have something like what's the one that a lot of people use? Is it tonal balance control? I think has it. Let's just see here. Yeah, this kind of shape basically is what you're looking for. So you want things to kind of have this general theme to them in order to achieve maximum heavy, loud vibes. Okay, and this is of course very broad, right? The ideology here is not always applied to every single moment of every single song, but this is a general theme that can help you make your songs feel more impactful across more systems, and not only impactful but more translatable. So it'll sound similar across all of those systems. Yeah, span. Thank you, Al. Big brain. Span on God. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say though. Really cool track. The arrangement and the timbres of everything is perfect. I think now you're at the point where you just gotta mix it a little bit and master it a little bit better. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, super cool tune for sure. I don't have a whole lot to add to what Maglutz said. Like, I think he covered most of what I would have to say. I would say, like, yeah, intro breakdown really more effects. Like, don't be afraid to use, like, make some racks with a bunch of filters and, like, make them evolve over time. It's the same thing with, like, effects, whether it's, like, a reverb, delay, pitch, and like those kind of things can make it sound like different enough without like having to change a whole lot of the content already of the composition. 808, same thing. I mean, I would have to hear it again after you make tweaks and like see what it looks like when you tune down a little bit that like second harmonic for sure. And yeah, no, the basses sounded good. I don't think it sounded too wide or anything like that, for sure. It's a banger. Now it's about like tweaking it a little bit. I was wondering if your like sidechain for your kick was a little long sometimes. I felt like maybe you're like sometimes there was like a longer break and like your kick is short and the break of the kick is kind of long, so stylistically it sounds cool, but I was wondering if there's not like some lack of sub about that throughout the song here and there. But that could be totally stylistic as well. I don't know. That's just something I noticed. Otherwise, it sounds really cool.
Heck yeah. All right. Oh, last but not least is this guy's track.
Yeah.
All right. Let me make sure that you can see these. All right. Yeah, this is my banger, guys.
That's a good answer there.
This little plastic thing with little dilly wongos. Well, yeah, just don't do that. Not okay. We're kind of ready for you to leave. So I'm gonna go ahead and head out. This little plastic thing with little dilly wongos. If you want to talk more, try that. She'll love it. If you really want to catch her attention. If you want to talk more, come find me. You walked off and left her, and now you're talking with another girl.
God fucking damn it. That was crazy.
Yeah, we're limit
That's
testing.
like music for sound system. You can tell this is the kind of shit you want to play, like on a big stage and like every face getting blasted off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a what is it? What are the speakers called? You know the ones.
The function one.
The functions.
The
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, function gang. All right, no, yeah.
I guess I can try to answer the thing. Yeah, is the mix too loud? Yeah, maybe a tiny bit, maybe. I don't know. I would have to hear what it is if you write it down, what kind of dynamics you got going on. But yeah, it does slide very nicely though. The whole rhythm and everything is big headbanging energy. I definitely fuck with that. Crush dynamics, drums the drums are really still slapping for sure. I think it sounds good. I wish there was a little more space, like reverb or something on the highs of the drums. I feel like the whole mix sounded like very small and centered and very powerful, but I feel like a little bit of air on some of the, yeah, maybe just the hi-hat and the kick and the snare. I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's, but just like open up maybe a little bit the mix. But otherwise, definitely slapping crazy. I think it sounded really cool. Arrangement-wise, still a lot to do. What are some ideas on how to improve? I feel like it wasn't super obvious where I was like after the first drop crazy good and I really like the build up after. Then when it drops again, I was unsure where I was in the song. Like it wasn't different enough. It was I can tell it's different, but I don't know. Like there's not like a very singular thing that I can be like, oh yeah, now in this part there's this thing happening. You know, it's a little fuzzy to me. What's so different about it? I think like maybe it comes down to the more of a face for the song, like have like maybe the vocals like throughout a little more and like or differently, but just like have something that I'm like, oh yeah, that element was definitely added on top of here. I feel like it's more like a tonal change of a bass than like a proper arrangement change of like the thing is different. Um, so yeah, I would try maybe to play like with stuff like that. Like you could have just like a voice chops on top of it, like on every eighth note or something for a part of it, and then have a response that's different. That would make it very much stand out compared to what it is right now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just talking out of ideas right now. This is like definitely a banger. I would love to see this like on a big system. So fuck yeah.
Word. Yeah, and I was reading everyone's messages in chat too. I agree. The goal here was to see like how hard I could push it and it still sound like relatively clear. And I think like if I didn't push for minus 1.2 lufs and pushed for like, so like most people I've been referencing are pushing for like -3. And I think that this track at -3 would be like vibey. So no, I wanted to basically see if I could win that war, that we're all fighting. Maybe not all of us are fighting, but I'm a frontline loudness war soldier. So yeah. But no, I appreciate your thoughts too, Raph. I think you're right. I think that the reverb on the drums is a great idea. And then on top of that, yeah, I think some of the bass sounds themselves, I think I can vary more just by doing things like more like throws and like fill stuff, like moments where like there's more obvious feeling of change between each section. So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the problem, right? With like once you start pushing for like silly numbers like -1.2, there's like just the only way to do that is to have it just be this like, well, let's look at the shape of this, it's just a giant square. It's just a giant square.
Big way through.
Big sausage, So yeah, no, I think that's just something that I've been exploring that maybe I went a little bit too crazy with this time around, but you know what? That's music. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys. I think that this evening was short and sweet. I think we had some really cool tracks this evening. I think everybody came through with some fire, and I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Raph, do you want to close us with some wise words? Oh wait, before I let you talk, actually, Raph, every Thursdays and Sundays, 9:00 Eastern, come through to the Flock Flips. Raph here made like this awesome code thing that I'm gonna start using all the time to make my life like a billion times easier. So thank you, Raph. And every Friday.
Building.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was saying more to come, and like let's keep building this thing. So it helps really for like this is just the start.
Heck yeah. And of course, every Friday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time in the evening, of course, the submissions open up. So if you did not get to submit your track this week, come through next week, every Friday, same time, every time. And yeah, Raph, close us off. What do you want to say?
No, I would say banging selecta, like the whole crew came through, and like this is big bangers. Like can't wait to see y'all like fucking succeed, and like this is cool stuff. Let's keep it up.
Yes,
and
sir.
Up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, you know what that means. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.